What's going on, guys? It's Otaku Phoenix here, and before we start this video, I just want to let you all know that thumbnail is clickbait. A guy's gotta get views, but the title is not. I truly do think SIEG is a very well-written protagonist and is unjustifiably hated on. I honestly even prefer him to Shiro as a protagonist, and in this video I'm going to explain why. Please try to keep an open mind. And alright, everybody, let's get into it. 意があるのか立てない抜け出せない差し捨て石を清なせべどこで走れたの何を知り得たのまた悲劇は繰り返してSIEG was created as a homunculus in the SIEG, the Emilia Council in Romania. SIEG, like all other homunculus made in the SIEG, the Emilia Council, was created to be nothing more than a magic power source, a living battery, if you will. After witnessing what happens to his kind once they are done with him, SIEG is horrified. Driven with his basic instinct to survive, the primal animalistic urge to move, SIEG accidentally taps into his magic and is able to break free of his container using the spell Strasgehen. As we can see here, SIEG manages to escape using his primary instincts to live. SIEG now tries to get away from the castle but collapses shortly afterwards until he is found by everyone's favorite trap, Astolfo. He then begs Astolfo to save his life, and Astolfo, being the kind-hearted soul he is, agrees. That was the day everything changed. Now for this video, there are certain points I'm going to get into with SIEG. The first point being that him taking Siegfried's heart was just plot-induced BS. Well, this is not true. For that I say they had clearly shown Siegfried's backstory. Siegfried, in his nature, while he was alive, would always ignore the wishes of the public and would only answer the wishes of the noble. He even said this himself. He was solely a means to fulfilling an end. And in the end, after granting all their wishes and all their needs, doing everything they wanted for him, he was still sacrificed in order for the kingdom to prosper. As Siegfried lay there lying, he even contemplated he had never done something he had wished. SIEG had actually always regretted never helping the public. He regretted never helping the common man. He only helped the nobles. When he saw Astolfo risk his life to save SIEG, even though he didn't need to, just because he wanted to, he was reminded of the pride he had in his lifetime. He was a man who helped people, but he never really helped the people. That is why it was perfectly in character for him to kill himself and give SIEG his heart. It was something Siegfried himself wished for. He regretted never helping the common man, even if he never helped the common man when they asked for it. So this time he decided to help one even though he didn't ask for it. It was perfectly in character for Siegfried to sacrifice himself in order to save SIEG, and I hate the fact that people try to give it off as plot-induced stupidity when it was a perfectly in character reason for Siegfried to do so. He himself stated it to Ryder that he just wanted to see his wish granted instead for once. Even though his greediness is still in the form of helping others, he just wanted to finally have his wish granted, which is something pretty much every servant in faith wants. His wish just happens to be to help others. But no, let's blame SIEG and call it plot-induced stupidity. And y'all would say the magic implications of that while ignoring the fact that Shiro was able to take Archer's arm. This is not the first time in Fate human being has gotten the organs of a servant. And if you want to say Shiro had repercussions from using Archer's arm, well, congrats, SIEG had repercussions too. Yes, he got the awesome power of Siegfried, the dragon slayer, the one that slayed the legendary dragon Fafnir in Norse mythology, which is very cool. But don't act as if he just got it for free. He paid a price for it. It was like Shiro's arm and how he suffered greatly while using it. Though granted, this looks a lot more painful, but SIEG, a homunculus who was only naturally going to live around 3 years in his own life, had his lifespan shortened drastically each time he transformed. He paid the consequence for using this transformation, even though he had no life experience. And then others would try to say that the fact that he got Frankenstein's power after her electricity brought him back to life. Yeah, well, one thing, one, her electricity is literally the lightning of life, so her bringing someone back to life perfectly makes sense. Two, SIEG had the heart of freaking Fafnir. It is not weird for the heart of a dragon to absorb the power of a servant. It's literally stated that dragons have specialized abilities in feats. The next thing people would try to bring up with SIEG with his plot-induced stupidity or BS was that he would always win his fights. And I ask you, did you watch Apocrypha? SIEG never won a fight by himself, ever. The battle against the giant golem, he had the help of not only Astolfo, but he had to team up with Mordred in order to beat this thing. And even then, Mordred during the battle acknowledged SIEG not using the power of Siegfried, but the conviction of SIEG as being a warrior. But no, let's deny it because we think SIEG isn't good enough. Like, literally see it here if you don't believe me. SIEG did not win this fight on his own. Now let's move on to his battle with Kana, shall we? When Kana activated his noble phantasm Vasavi Shakti and SIEG activated his Siegfried's noble phantasm Balmug, SIEG himself literally stated he is holding Siegfried back, that Siegfried's power should be far more than this. He is barely keeping up with Kana and acknowledges Kana is stronger than him. And to compensate for this, SIEG literally had to use another command seal to boost his powers even further. And even then, he couldn't overpower Vasavi Shakti. If not that Astolfo came in clutch with Achilles' shield, SIEG would have died there. It was only thanks to Achilles' shield and how SIEG had been able to fend it off for a while they finally able to overpower Vasavi Shakti. And it's not SIEG's fault Vasavi Shakti is a one-time use. Then next with Amakusa Shiro. Amakusa literally had to take Jan's La Pucelle. He had to take a noble phantasm head on and got damaged by it. And even to reduce the strength of said noble phantasm, he had to cut off one of his arms. And even then, in their fight, SIEG basically lost that fight. If you don't believe me, watch now, because you clearly don't remember Apocrypha. SIEG practically lost that fight. Man got stabbed through the chest. If not for his determination and that his body was in a quasi-servant state, SIEG would have died there. But no, y'all are going to deny it and say he has plot armor and will ignore the fact that Shiro was able to beat Archer, which is literally an experienced future version of himself that became a servant. Even Archer acknowledges that they should not be on the same level in whatsoever. Yes, they gave us the explanation that Shiro was learning his skills as they were fighting by communicating through the soul or some shit. But y'all want to say this isn't plot armor? This is one of the biggest plot armors I've ever seen in my life. And yes, they will also say that Archer let Shiro win, but that is much more of even plot armor than the first point, because the first point gives an explanation. This was he lets him win, but no, SIEG is the one that has plot armor. Sure. The next thing I've seen people hate on SIEG from is his personality, particularly his lack of expressionism. And to that I say, who the hell cares? You literally got this from an 8 or 9 minute segment from a single episode. Seriously, I had to rewatch Apocrypha from beginning to end for this shit. This was 8 minutes. You couldn't handle him being expressionless for 8 minutes. Like, for fuck's sake, Sasuke isn't facially expressive, Ukiura isn't facially expressive, Levi isn't facially expressive. For God's sake, Chainsaw Man fans are angry at how expressive Aki is, but yet when SIEG isn't expressive, he's a cardboard MC. Like, what the fuck? Get the hell out of here with this, your unfair bias. The next point I'm going to go into is SIEG as a protagonist. People say SIEG as a protagonist didn't work, but for me, this mainly stems from the fact that people wanted Mordred and her master, Dog the Bounty Hunter, to be the protagonist in Fate. And I am not going to sit here and tell you that Mordred is not a well-written and complex character that would have been interesting to delve into, especially with her relationship with the other servants in the anime. I will not deny it. It would not be a bad plotline. But who the hell cares? Just accept it. Once again, I'm not saying it wouldn't have been fun to see the dynamic between these two, as in terms of writing, their dynamic was obviously the best, as they learnt a lot from each other. And I personally I would admit, I would have liked to see more on the relationship between Mordred and Artoria, mainly because I want to know more about Artoria's past, but I will not deny it would have been interesting to see more of it. Granted, I am satisfied with what we got, because even the novels of Avalon didn't show this scene. So I am actually satisfied with what we got, but I would have liked to see more. But it is not fair to call SIEG a bad protagonist just because he wasn't the protagonist you wanted. Treat him as his own thing. Now, I'm going to explore as to why SIEG is honestly a very well-written protagonist and Fate fans are just blinded by nostalgia. As I started this video off before, SIEG saw the shape that his homunculi brethren are going to end up in after they've been used for their purpose, discarded as nothing but waste. His entire purpose was literally to serve as a battery for magical energy. He didn't have any of the basic rights that we bless and pretty much take for granted. He managed to escape and then runs into once again everyone's favorite child from my husband, Astolfo, and begs Astolfo to save his life. And once again, Astolfo, being the kind but weird person he is, agrees to save him. But even then, SIEG doubts himself. SIEG contemplates that is there really a point in him living? That he's just going to die in 3 years. That is there really any point in him living? He can't accomplish anything. He can't leave his footprints behind. That there's no point in him staying alive. Astolfo is the one that points out that he should not think he doesn't deserve to live. The only difference between SIEG, a homunculus, and a regular human, apart from their magic circuits being different, is that they weren't born. But that isn't a fair enough comparison. When humans are born, we also have no idea what we're doing. We just have the will to live. As long as your heart beats, you ought to strive to live. You simply need the will to live. Most humans don't know what's going on, but Astolfo gives him that, a will to live. So much so, he's willing to rebel against his masters and attack. This was the first step to SIEG becoming a well-written character. He had finally gained the first necessary thing to be a true human being, the will to live and the will to rebel against the fate placed upon them. And as I've said with how Siegfried sacrificing himself works, Siegfried sacrificing himself was perfectly in character for Siegfried. It was not plot in his armor. If you wanted him to not do this, then they should have picked another hero. Because even in Legend, this was something Siegfried would clearly do. And even then, Sieg takes half his name, knowing that he cannot live up to be the kind of hero Siegfried wants. He wants to at least honor him by taking half his name. This is someone claimed to have no personality. After just one life experience, understands enough depth and gratitude that he is willing to place that person's name on himself for all eternity. John herself tells him to do this, that do not try to search for a justification for your existence. If humans don't need to justify their existence, then why should he? It is not fair. And so it's still appalling me how people would see this and still think Sieg is not a well-written character. John said, nothing is sadder than having someone rule over your life. Didn't you break out because you wanted to escape that? Sieg himself said that he just didn't want to die, that was just the basic instinct for him to live. However, Sieg is still plagued by the guilt. He alone was given a chance to live as a human, but the rest of his brethren weren't. He knew the fate that awaited them, to be discarded and die shortly afterwards. He couldn't escape this guilt. Jan noticed this, and she even saw a vision that if Sieg pursues this path, he would die a violent death in the battlefield, that he will not get to live. This is a guy who, unlike Jan and the other servants who lived full lives and died, Jan became a saint, heard the voice of God at the age of 16. Before then, she at least lived 16 peaceful years of life. Sieg has not lived up to a week. And yet, he has to make the same sacrifice as servants if he has to go down this road. Sieg, in this scene, after John drops him off with the old man so he can try and live a normal life, gets his second piece of character development, understanding to be what truly free is. Sieg literally asks that what if your own desires trample on someone else's wish for you? The old man says, be it parents, child, people, environment, society, law, everyone is tied to something. No one is ever truly free, to have no bonds whatsoever, that it's not possible for us to live as we please. Because even if you wanted to, you are still tied to something. Your heart is still connected to something. This is the second piece Sieg needed to become a true human, to understand that sometimes in your pursuit of freedom, you have to trample over the wills of others. And boy, can I relate. After talking with this man, Sieg finally understands that they want him to be free. Anne and Astolfo want him to be free, to live like a normal human. But to truly be a normal human, he has to make his own decisions. He decided alone to go back and save the rest of the homunculi, and he goes to do so. Even the other homunculi question him that why would he come back here? Why would he save them even though their lives are short in meaning? Sieg answers this by saying that it is better than dying in this Grail war. Sieg was given the opportunity to live, and he could never go on living as a normal human being if he didn't give this opportunity to the rest of his people. And even then, he saw the one who saved him, Astolfo, in trouble, and hesitated on his freedom once more while he was evacuating the homunculus. He saw Astolfo falling down injured and wanted to go and help him. But once again, he hesitated. He claimed to have made a commitment that he wants to save them, but he wanted to go and help Astolfo. The homunculi encouraged him that you are trying to give us our own freedom, right? Then why would you not deny us? Then why would you now deny yours? You want to live freely. You want all of us to have freedom. Then go and live as you please. Even if they don't want you there, even if they don't want you to do this, fight for what you believe in. do what you please. That's what it truly means to be human. That sometimes you just have to say, fuck it, I'm going anyway. And SIEG went. Even then, in the face of Mordred, freaking Mordred, pretty much one of the worst, if not the worst of Knights of the Round Table one could ever have the misfortune of meeting in their life. Even against Mordred and getting his ass thoroughly kicked. Like seriously, man, this beating is bad. Even Mordred asks that why would you fight in this situation? That I am far ahead of you. Why would you keep fighting? SIEG literally answers with just that this person gave me a chance to live. This person saved my life and I simply want to save him. Is that not enough reason? But apparently having reasons like this makes them cardboard MCs. And sadly, due to this decision, SIEG is, stabbed in the freaking chest. There he gets secret out, but whatever. This is where the contrast between SIEG and Amakusa Shiro comes from. And it is honestly a well-written contrast. SIEG as a homuncular is practically perfect, devoid of emotions, incredible power, but yes, he has a short life. Even Semiramis points out that why is Shiro irritated. This is because SIEG is trying to gain emotions, the very things Shiro discarded in his quest to bring about world peace. He even points this out when Achilles confronts him on his conviction. He says that to save humanity, he had to abandon all his emotions, the hatred he felt for how mankind had treated him and how society had treated him, how broken the system is. Achilles once again says that he can't believe this disappeared. Shiro confirms that he threw this away in order to save mankind. This is where SIEG as a protagonist is the perfect opposition for Shiro. SIEG embodies the ideals Shiro tried to abandon, has abandoned. The things SIEG are trying to gain are the things Shiro abandoned. And because he knows this, Shiro hates SIEG for it. SIEG once again displays this by saying he wants to save the other homunculi. He cannot just pretend that they don't exist. As I say again, this is where the contrast between SIEG and Shiro appears. They both want to save people. They both want to help people. But whereas Shiro discarded his emotions in his resolve to help people, SIEG wants to hold on to them and develop them even further so he can truly relate and understand people before helping them. This was shown to be very significant when SIEG finally stood up to the masters of Yigdemelia, claiming that yes, it is possible we may live pointless lives. In fact, it is confirmed we will live short lives and that maybe we don't even deserve free will. That we don't know if everything we've done till now is right or not. But even if there is no rest, it was my choice. I chose to go here. Even if I don't deserve it, I still want it. I want to be free. I want to have the freedom every human else has. The freedom to choose their own fate, to choose their own destiny. As I've said, SIEG has already acquired 2 of the main points in order to become human. John questions him on this, that are you sure you want to go down this path? Unlike servants who have led full lives before deciding to go down these paths, SIEG has only lived a matter of days, and yet he still had enough conviction to sacrifice his own happiness so he can give happiness to others. As I've said before, John confronts him on this, that are you sure you have the stomach to go through with this? And even Kana notices it on his death. The same person that y'all are saying has no personality had enough sense of chivalry to apologize to Kana after their duel that he needed Astolfo's help in order to win this battle. Kana is the one that tells him, do not apologize. It is only right for a master to use their servants. It is an asset in form. It is part of your power. It is perfectly understandable to use him. But no, let's hate SIEG for it. And after Jan's death, this was the final piece. After coming to love her, literally Shiro's pointed out, are you angry at me for killing her? SIEG said, I cannot forgive you. The final battle between SIEG and Shiro was not about SIEG saving humanity. That comes later. This was solely revenge. You killed someone I care for, so I want you dead. This is something Shiro was praised for being able to do in the Heaven's Field route. But when SIEG now attempts it in Apocrypha, he is hated for it. This is what I mean when I say that 8 fans just love to ignore character development, because if it even comes close to somewhat mimicking something that had already been done by Shiro or earlier on in the Nasuverse, it is hated upon greatly, and it is not fair. And even after the battle against Shiro, after living only for about a week and sacrificing so much, he is willing to sacrifice his own short life just so humanity can have a future. That is a character they will say is not well written. The final point I'm going to address is why Jan fell in love with SIEG. And the thing people forget is Jan is not a saint. This was shown several times over and over. Yes, at first, Jan was not sure these feelings were even her own. She even thought it was the feelings of the girl she's possessing. But now I'm going to explain exactly why Jan fell in love with SIEG, and it is not their fault. I was able to understand this easily, and it was driven not once, not twice, but 3 times over and over why this happened. It was because Jan is not a saint. Several times in the anime, Jan is asked over and over that she was betrayed by her comrades. Why would she still fight knowing that? Jan literally answers that she knew her death would not be vain. So it would not be in vain, that hope would be born from her death. In the same way, SIEG realizes that Siegfried's power is needed in order to stop Shiro and the Grail and save the world. This is where Jan can't accept it, because SIEG is practically becoming like her. He's doing the same thing she did in life. The difference is Jan was called by God at the age of 16. She had lived a life. SIEG hadn't, and yet he was being dragged into the same position. This is what she couldn't accept. She even said he is not a hero. You don't need the obligations of one. Are you sure you still want to go down the path of one? But he says it is my responsibility. He chose this. In a way, it is reminiscent of the relationship between Shiro and Saber from the original Fate Stay Night, in the sense that Shiro and Saber were pretty much the same. Shiro was always putting himself last, putting others first, sacrificing whatever he had to on himself to save other people. This eventually led to them butting heads and him exposing that Saber is being hypocritical about it, that she's angry because she did the exact same thing and it isn't fair. This point was further brought up during that episode where Jan and SIEG went on a date. SIEG called Jan a saint, and Jan denied this. But at first, SIEG just thought it was Jan being humble. But Jan tried to emphasize over and over that she is not an actual saint. People only saw her that way. She notes that SIEG has been maturing, been getting closer and closer to being a true human. But sorry, I got lost in the point. Back to the real point. Jan shows over and over that she is not a saint. In fact, she knows others would have seen her as evil. She's only recognized as a saint because it was her side that ended up winning. To others, Jan no doubt was seen as evil. SIEG once again dismisses this as words that how could she be evil? SIEG did not understand what he was trying to say, but this changed when they encountered Jack the Ripper. After SIEG had seen the true evil of humanity and had seen the darkness in them, till this point, SIEG had only seen the goodness in humanity, not their darkness. SIEG was just shocked. He could not believe what he was seeing, that the kind humans he had been seeing all throughout time could be even capable of doing something like this. This crushes his will. And here, Jan reveals her true colors to Jack the Ripper and to everyone. When Jack asks Jan to save them, to save all the children that make up Jack the Ripper, Jan outright refuses. She says she cannot save them, that you are gone. This is nothing but a legend. You are nothing but evil spirits. That all I can do is destroy you. I cannot save you. This is truly where Jan should decide that history did not record. She acknowledges not everyone can be saved, and sometimes people must be destroyed. However, history never recorded this because, as I said, her side ended up later winning. This is why Jan was later proclaimed as a saint. But she herself knows that she cannot save anyone. The Lord is who saves people. That is why she told Atalante that, do you think my hands are not stained in blood because I did not wield a sword? What a joke. That the moment I took that flag, the moment I joined in those battles, I lost any chance of being a saint. I put my people first. I knew those other people had their own situations and their circumstance, but I put my people first. I did not hesitate to destroy them then. I didn't hesitate to destroy them now. This is why she says it, that I have never once claimed to be a saint. Even SIEG was shocked to hear Jan say these words. He questions her. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. Atalante even confronts her again on this, that you killed them. She said, I did. That you too discarded them. That how could you do something so cool? He said, no matter what you say, I won't believe. You won't believe in me. Those children could not be saved. They were nothing but evil spirits. No matter how much warmth they sought, it would only be wasted on them. They only destroy, and therefore they must be destroyed. This truly showed the side of Jan no one in history had ever seen. In a way, the darkness that Gilderoy was looking for was pretty much always there. SIEG himself confronts her on this, that how could humans be so wicked? How could be so cruel? Says, I saw the same thing as you. It is true, humans are cruel. Even she acknowledges that to others she has definitely been seen as cruel, as she only put her people first. That is why she accepted everything that happened to her. She herself says it, I am no exception. Had I not been burned at the stake, I would have kept fighting. I would have kept killing more people in the name of the Lord for my own people. But nonetheless, I would have still been killing people. But all she asked was she did not give up on humanity. Jan never gave up on humans. She always believed there could be peace, but still acknowledged the fact that sometimes war was necessary. This is why SIEG and Jan bonded together. It was because SIEG was truly the first person to ever see Jan as not a saint. This was the first person she could ever talk to and show the side of her history had never recorded. And once again, going back to how SIEG was going down her path, she saw a vision once again as she was dying, that SIEG is going to end up dying in his fight. Even if he doesn't die, he is going to have a short life. He is going to have to sacrifice the life he has barely even gotten to live, just like Jan. As I pointed out, it is a somewhat mimicry of the relationship with Shiro and Saber, as in how SIEG is practically like her. That is why they bonded. So to say their romance is not well written makes no sense. And once again, like how Jam put her people first, SIEG put his emotions first in the final battle against Shiro. I said this earlier, the battle against Shiro was not to save humanity. This was solely in anger with the fact Shiro killed Jan. That was the only reason SIEG fought here. Yes, saving humanity then added bonus to it, but that was not the reason he fought. He literally said it, as you say later. At first, I'm just gonna watch the fight because this fight is just freaking amazing. Like, it's really one of the best fights I've ever seen. But as I said, he literally states this, that I am not fighting to save humanity. I am fighting because you killed her and I cannot forgive you. The same way Jan put her people first using the name of the Lord, SIEG puts his emotions first using Jan's name. Just cementing why these two were joined together. They were two like-minded souls. But the initial curiosity was unlike Jan, who had led a life up to that point. She was chosen by God. SIEG hadn't, and he still went down this path anyway. In a way, Jan saw SIEG as the true saint between them. He had not experienced enough life. He had only seen the horrors of humanity once, and he still went down the same path as her. But yet people will still say their relationship is horribly written or it just doesn't make sense. Overall, I hate to see the fact that how people will hate SIEG and say he is not a well-written character while completely ignoring all these points. And they were really obvious, because seriously, yes, I had to rewatch Apocrypha again for this video because I watched it like 2 years ago. Watching it again, it became clearer than it was the first time. I hate how people will be calling SIEG a bland MC and say his version in Grand Order had more emotion than 25 episodes. Though there are some people who have brains and have been able to notice the points I've been saying by themselves, that SIEG is not a cardboard MC. People treat him like Shiro had no plot armor. SIEG literally, Shiro up to that point had lived 17 years. SIEG didn't have any, and yet he still sacrificed himself to save humanity. So once again, I just ask that you open your mind and can finally see that SIEG is actually a very well-written protagonist, one who had gained life experiences more than anyone would ever do in their entire lives in a matter of weeks. He saw, he loved, and he sacrificed himself to save the world.